And I'm back for another fun episode of Sayings I Hate. And to quote Steve Harvey, got a good one today. All right, now this one is number 2 out of all of the sayings that I hate the most. This is number 2. Number 1 I'll save for next time. And this one is, it is what it is. Is it? What exactly is it? I can't stand when people use this. And I've only heard this saying used once where it was actually impactful, and that's in the best movie of all time, Heat. Don't even talk to me. That's an inarguable statement. Heat is by far the best movie of all time. There's the coffee shop scene with Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro's character uses it. It is what it is. I remember at that time in the 1990s, I go, that's a pretty badass line. And maybe it was at that time, but this line has been bastardized so much that I cringe anytime I hear someone use it. And it's always used in a context where something that's clearly negative happened and you're just trying to mitigate that. You mitigate your response to it. Like, oh, this is terrible, but I'm not gonna show any emotion about it. Yeah. That's cognitive dissonance, and you're just deluding yourself, and nothing ever good comes out of deluding yourself. Now, here's some examples. Let's say you go, hey, how's it going? It's like, well, I just found out my wife has cancer and my business is going under. Go, man, that's terrible. Sorry to hear about that. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, it's terrible, motherfucker. I just said it. Let's just call it what it is. No one ever uses it is what it is in a positive context. Hey, how's it going, Jimmy? It's like, well, we just got back from Hawaii. My wife and I had a great time. It was amazing. Best trip of our lives. Man, that's fantastic. Glad to hear it. Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, no shit, motherfucker. I just said, that's fantastic. You just said you had a great time. So this line is so irritating, I could go on and on and on. Now, let's talk about some situations where it is what it is doesn't help or mitigate the situation at all. And that's why these people never use it. Now, my friend Ty Ritter, who I've talked about a million times, and I'm gonna keep talking about him. I'm gonna keep talking about him every time I talk, because everybody watching this should give a fuck about the fact that 168 million kids are forced in child slave labor around the world. 168 million. Now, this is not the same as trafficked. All right, we're talking about kids working in a cocoa factory so that you can get a fucking chocolate candy bar at 7-Eleven for 2 cents. Some kid is being beaten down so you can do that. Now, fortunately, there are several chocolate companies, which I'll list in this clip, that source from areas that do not use any child slave labor at all. So we have 168 million children worldwide that are in slave labor type situations, all right? Now, some will argue, well, it could be worse. They're fucking slaves, you dumb fuck. What's worse than that? It's like this dumb fuck Larry Elder saying that, you could argue that slave owners should get reparations too. Yeah, you could, motherfucker, if you want to get your ass kicked real fast. Where I grew up in Washington, D.C., if you even think that, you're gonna get your fucking ass kicked, and deservedly so. All right, back to what I'm talking about here. Let's talk about human trafficking. Now, about every year, there's 1 million kids that get stolen from their homes and sold into the sex slave trade. That's what human trafficking largely comprises of, about 1 million every year. And that number is probably conservative. It's probably way higher than that. The vast majority of these kids are not white, and that's frankly why most people don't give a fuck, because most people are still racist. It's just a fact. All right. If this were happening all over with American kids and European kids, this would be an issue. Instead of fucking out there protesting the vaccine mandate, people would be out there protesting the fact that no one's really doing anything about this. But I digress. All right, back to Ty Ritter. Now, when Ty talks about what he has seen all over the world, largely in South America, rescuing kids from the worst human suffering you could possibly imagine. Imagine the worst thing that could happen to a kid, and this is gonna be 10 times worse than that. He's been on the LLA podcast that Sincere and I do many times, and he's told us several stories. And the most eerie part is that as horrific as those stories are, he says they're basically a 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. He didn't even want to get into 9 or a 10 out of 10. And honestly, I don't want to hear 10 out of 10 because I'm in. I'm in. I'm supporting his organization wholeheartedly. I don't need to hear anymore. It's bad enough what I've heard. Now, when Ty talks about what he has seen, he says it's horrible, it's disgusting, it's heartbreaking, he's in tears, and this is a bad motherfucker, so don't make it sound like he's some bitch. This guy's expressing emotion based over the most horrific things he's ever seen. He had a team member commit suicide because what he saw was so horrific. And some people are like, oh, that's weak. It's like, motherfucker, your bitch ass, twat ass wouldn't last a minute in that world. So just let the real men do some work and shut the fuck up. Go back to the range and smoke a Marlboro and go get a Bud Light afterwards. Let the real men do what they are trained to do. Go rescue kids because everyone else is too much of a pussy and doesn't have the training to even do it. So when Ty Ritter talks about what's going on out there, it's never, it is what it is. Like, oh man, Ty, that's horrible. That's what happened to those kids? Yeah, it is what it is. It's like, yeah, motherfucker, it's terrible. It's a horrific situation. So we're so caught up in this positive thinking movement still that nobody wants to say anything negative when it happens because somehow it makes you less. It's okay to say things suck. Some things suck. The other argument these pseudo-spiritual motherfuckers like to make is, nothing's really good, nothing's really bad, things just are. Shut the fuck up with that stupid shit. God damn, I'll punch you in the fucking throat if you ever say that around me, you stupid, callous motherfucker. Some things are clearly bad. What's good about kids in human trafficking? What's good about kids getting raped every day for their entire existence and then brutally murdered? What the fuck is good about that, you stupid, privileged piece of shit? God damn, some people are so fucking dumb. All right. I get a little heated about this, Grover, because I don't like seeing animals suffer. I don't like seeing kids suffer. I don't like seeing anyone suffer. Except people that are cruel. They deserve to suffer. So look, let's focus on doing some real things here. I mean, if everyone who had ever heard of Project Child Save donated $1, you can fund these missions where Ty and his team go rescue these kids. And it's 100% of donations go to the rescue missions. No one's taking a salary. No one's using your money to pay for lunch. No one's going out and buying designer jeans or a new suit. 100% of the money goes to the mission. These guys all have day jobs. They make money doing other things. And they're putting their lives on the line to rescue kids that they don't know, who are probably never even going to have the chance to show gratitude. But that's not what it's all about. I have this line in a poem I wrote. I go, in a world where narcissism is the coveted prize, I choose to lose. If I do say so myself, that's a pretty badass line. And these guys are about as far from narcissistic as you can get. You're never even gonna know. They don't have an Instagram page where it's like, hey, look at the kids we just saved. No, they have to do this stuff surreptitiously for obvious reasons. It's some vigilante shit. That vigilante shit that should be supported. So anyway, I'm gonna stop talking. I always like to cut off at the 8-minute mark. Go to projectchildsave.org. Make a donation. It's $2, $5. It'll make a big difference. Listen to those podcast episodes on the LLA show. You can see them at mikemahler.com. Everything is archived there. And believe me, you can hear the sincerity in his voice. There's interviews with Ty, not that we've done, on YouTube that are also really impactful as well. So check those out. But this is a real cause that we can do something about. All right, that's it for today.